Well, well, well. It looks like the punt god Matt Araiza has risen from the ashes of false accusations, leaving the Me Too pitchfork brigade with egg on their faces. Who would have thought that actual evidence and witness testimony could trump a Me Too mob? Shocking, I know. Meanwhile, in the land of perpetual headaches, Tua Tagovailoa is once again making neurologists everywhere reach for their aspirin. Should he retire? Should he keep playing? Who are we to tell a grown man what to do with his brain cells? It's not like I'm using mine to make these hot takes, right? And speaking of hot takes, Sheryl Swoopes has decided to swoop in with another brick take. This time targeting Caitlin Clark's rookie season. But hold on to your sneakers, folks, because this take is about as accurate as Shaq at the free throw line. When you stack up Clark's rookie numbers against Swoop's MVP seasons, it turns out the rookie's stats are more swoop-tacular than expected. Talk about an airball in the judgment department. Swoots might want to check the stat sheet before trying to play zone defense against Clark's meteoric rise. It's only her first season, but man, what a season it's been. While Clark's sinking buckets, Swoop seems to be seeking her own credibility faster than Rex Chapman riding the Oxycontin Express to La La Land. It's like eating one too many slices of Papa John's pizza, greasy and bound to end in disaster. Charmin, Cheryl? Hello, everybody. This is William Del Pilar, and this is Points on the Board, episode 90. Let's welcome our two co hosts here, Jimmy McPhee and Joe DeCapita, as we get ready to pound it out. Guys, like I was telling you guys off screen, man, I love my corny intros, and I crack
We do
myself.
too. We were
love it.
enjoying. We were
Yes.
enjoying it out there.
Yes,
We
we were
loved it.
we were cracking up
Yep.
everything you were saying. We're
Yeah,
just like,
that's why
this
we
is
have
amazing.
Smiles on our face.
I have no shame. You know, I worry if I run for office again, somebody's going to pull these out. You have no empathy, no compassion. You know, and I'm like, it's. I look at life like this. It's sure they are absolutely right. If it was a family member of mine or so, I'd probably be different. But it's not, and it's entertainment, and I try to lighten things up. But as you, the audience, can tell, we're going to talk about Matt Araiza today and the Me Too movement trying to take him out with false accusations. I say the Me Too movement because that was not a true woman's movement. It may have started briefly for about 10 seconds before it became a political movement. But in this case, maybe it was the girl looking for a money grab. And then obviously we're going to talk about Tua and it's a dilemma. I mean, it's now that I do have empathy because I mean, what I always tell people, this is terrible. So I always tell, and it's always the white suburban woman or the person who's not struggling to make ends meet or pay their bills. Well, he should retire for his help. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, these guys come from the ghetto, from the barrio. I don't know specifically where he came from, but man, this is their way out of out of poverty. So and obviously off camera, I won't say it online, but I'm not a Swoops fan, because I think deep down she has a race. We're not going to talk about this perspective, but in my opinion, she has a racial hate towards Caitlin Clark, and I've never seen somebody lose it that badly from the perspective of this. I mean, I'm trying to think of an analogy, but if she walked on water, I mean, Suits would find something to criticize her
Right.
for that.
Yeah.
It's gotten that bad. So, first of all, before we get down to it, you guys just finished doing your own show. I don't know who wants to talk about it, but tell us a little bit about the Blindside Blitz. But most definitely tell us about your other show.
Go
Who
for it,
wants to
Jim.
take that?
Oh, you want me to do it? Again, Football on the No Show. We just finished up. We just had a lot of interaction with our group within that live show. We just had 100 comments right there. And that's what we do. Yeah. It was just like that. People are ripping off nonstop. Guys that are know-it-alls that we call it, the people that follow us all the time, we call them know-it-alls. they were there, but then also some new faces or new fans there that we have and got a chance to talk with. So that's what we do there. Same thing. We have a lot of fun, talk about whatever they want to bring up too. So it was just a big conversation, through a bunch of fans and things like that. And the Blindside Blitz, again, we kind of take that same approach. We give you knowledge, and things that you want to know and hear about, but then also have the fun side on top of it. And then also, read the comments too, as well. If there's something you want to talk about, or if you have a comment about it, we're not going to shun you. We're not going to say, oh, hold the phones, we're not picking up. We're not going to answer you. We're going to talk to you.
And that's at FB_now. Is it
Yep,
now?
it's FB_no on X.
No.
Yep, and on YouTube, it's Football on the No Show. So look up for YouTube, and you'll find us right there.
And you guys should have heard me when I was moderating the 50th congressional debate with the candidates. Being Latino, there's certain when you see two L's or something, you pronounce it differently. So I was pronouncing it the Latino way, and every Democrat, man, if it looks a kill, I would dead on the spot. Like, you're disrespecting him by not pronouncing his name right. Like, look, it's a Latino name. I'm Latino. I said it in the Latino way. Y'all mad at me because I Americanized it. Listen, can't win for lose with certain people. So let's get into it with Matt Araiza. And I have titled this segment, "The Punt God Grounded: How Unsubstantiated Allegations Nearly Derailed Matt Araiza's NFL Career Despite Evidence of Innocence." What makes Araiza unique is he was actually drafted. Most punters and most place kickers, they don't get drafted. They're signed off the street, free agent. I mean, they're signed the very next day. It's just most teams don't see a worth of them. That has changed the past few years with all the rule changes, how tight these games have become. And I'm very familiar with this story. It happened here in San Diego in October 2021. An alleged incident occurred at an off-campus party. It wasn't alleged. The incident did happen, just not how she said it. Between Matt Araiza and at least in the charges, two other San Diego State University football players. On a side note, one of those football players, and we're not going to talk about it, but I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but one of the players, as they're investigating this, found child pornography on his computer.
Oh, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's one of those, whoa, yeah. But so the allegations here. A 17-year-old, her name is Ileana Walker, and I have video of her, but I'm not going to show it. I don't want to degrade her anymore.
Yeah.
Even though she was a fiend in all this, she was a villain in all this. She accused Araiza and two other SDSU football players of gang raping her at a party. The accuser claimed that Araiza, who was 21 at the time, had sex with her in the side yard of the house. Well, she had sex with her, and other men took turns raping her. She was 17 at the time. She had told everybody she was 18, and they have that on video. That's the video I have where she's saying that, and your initial thoughts when you hear something like this with an athlete. Doesn't matter if it's football, but since we all follow football, well, it's not just him. There's been other cases. When you hear these type of things, Joe, what's your first thought that goes through your mind?
I mean, honestly, first thing that I'm thinking of is I believe it's a money grab. Like that's the messed up part of it, is like so many times that they go through these cases and everything. It all seems to be, oh, well, they settled out of court. They got paid off and they're set and they're done. There's never been any kind of, I shouldn't say never, but there has been evidence before, but then it seems to kind of just go away like nothing. And, a lot of times, more times than not, especially recent cases, there's been more times where a pro athlete will go to court and everything, and then it's just kind of thrown out of court. It's like there's not enough evidence. There's nothing there, and they still take them to civil court just to get money after the fact. So that's where it's kind of led me mentally anywhere. Where anytime I hear a pro football player or a pro that's out there in a different sport, I automatically think that it's like, man, this is most likely a money grab until I see any kind of evidence.
It's Jimmy. I just feel like doing this. They're just throwing the papers up. It's like
Yeah,
segment over. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's kind of how I feel. How do you feel about it when you see something like that or hear about it?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of that's where you want to point now because you've seen it so many times. I think we brought this up in the last episode, or one before that. I can't remember, but similar type of thing. When you see this thing, I think it was when we were talking about Deshaun Watson stuff. That we're kind of numb to this now that you've seen these accusations happen a bunch of times, and then it turns into settlement in court, blah blah blah, and then it's gone. You know what I mean? They and these lawyers, what they do too is always try and tack on some more people to get involved too and things like that. So that's why we're always, when we're seeing something like this, that's where we're going to now, just because we've seen it a bunch of times. It's a trend.
And we're going to talk about his football career, but I mean, you can look at him, a good-looking kid, a young kid. I assume he's Latino out here in San Diego, Araiza,
Yeah.
at least Spaniard. I mean, and so I would imagine, he probably lost what the audience may not realize. It's not the national deals. It's not Peyton Manning and Papa John's, it's commercials. A lot of these athletes, especially the lesser known ones, they do a lot of local deals. So she probably cost them as well in that perspective.
Yeah.
But Araiza maintained his innocence throughout this whole process. He not once shirked from the okay plea deal or whatever. He's like, I am innocent. He said he had left the party 30 minutes before any of this happened. And as Joe was alluding to, the San Diego County Sheriff's Department conducted a months-long investigation into these allegations, and the investigation was separated from the later, as Joe called it, the civil lawsuit. So this happened, they said, in 2021 is when the investigation started. I'm trying to think if there's a month or a day. October 2021. So over a year later, in December 2022. Now, that's when they resolved it. But before I say what happened, you're talking about a year of your life living with that every day, the community looking at you as if you're a vile, evil pig of a man. Because I'm sorry, we men, we have to take the brunt of the blame early on. We're seen as a vile, evil person and the poor, innocent woman, and that can be true a lot, maybe most of the times. But as Joe alluded to, a lot of times when you're talking to somebody, a rich, wealthy individual, we're looking at a potential money grab. So over a year later, December 2022, after reviewing the evidence, prosecutors declined to file criminal charges against Araiza or any of the other accused men. I didn't get involved. I got an interest in the story because I saw the details as to why there was no evidence, et cetera, et cetera. When I saw it at the national level, they kind of omitted that stuff. And some of the articles left you hanging like, another rich athlete gets off. Yeah. And I'm like, what the hell?
So,
Yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts of that? It's like here's the truth, and yet the media is not really doing their job. Your thoughts when that happens, Jimmy?
Yeah, same thing. They're gonna, whatever narrative they want to paint, they're gonna go with. And when there was nothing there, they ignore it. They walk away. They're just like, well, it's this and that. I mean, he just obviously got away with it. Let's move on. Let's just still look at this person as a criminal, no matter what. When there was even nothing there. So that's what they're going to stick to. I mean, we've seen it right now in the media and in the headlines that are going on right now. It's so ridiculous, with things with the election and everything coming up. It's preposterous. Nobody can trust the media, especially right now. So, I mean, this is the things we've been seeing for time and time again. And I'm not very surprised at all.
No. Joe, there were inconsistencies in the accuser's story. Araiza had an alibi, and these are legit. This isn't like him just saying it. This was investigated, proven to be true. One of the most important things was the timing discrepancies.
Yes.
He wasn't there when she said it happened, and obviously the lack of supporting evidence. So all this stuff was there, documented by the police, by investigators, proven to be true. And the media kind of tends to omit that. And it's important because if you look at this as a reporter and then you see the civil lawsuit, what's your first thought? Okay, she has a civil lawsuit, but here's all the information. As a media, what should they have done, Joe?
I mean, honestly, like just report the facts. Like that's the thing is like facts sometimes don't sell. It doesn't draw people to it. So they feel like to spice it up a lot more. They want the intrigue. They want the viewers to watch this news channel or that news channel because they're drawing up that interest, or like, what happened? What do you mean? What detail was this? And oh, but this person said that. It's drumming up all the drama that people sometimes are just attracted to. So that is what it's all about for them. And it's just to draw attention to that news team or to the channel. So that's really what it is. But what should they do is just report the facts, because in the end, if you want to dig, if you're just a person from the outside, if you want to dig into it and find the facts yourself, you can, but it's going to be found out anyway. So why draw up all this craziness? And then in the end, oh, he was innocent. Oh, that's how it happened. Yeah.
Exactly.
So you find out on the after fact. It's a little ridiculous.
Yeah. And with the articles and things like that, they go for the big headline to grab you in. And they know that people won't read down far enough to see, maybe at the last paragraph, they'll say, he says he allegedly wasn't there 30 minutes, before. So there you go. But nobody's going to read down that far and things like that. They're going to look at the headline. They're like, this guy accused of this. And they're like, oh my God, what a dirtbag, So.
Oh yeah. It's as the audience knows, we are a political website that mixes politics and sports, and I can tell you, we can all tell you from fact that the New York Times is notorious for their anonymous sources. Translation: we don't have any anonymous sources. We're just saying that so we can get away with this lie. And at the bottom, they sit there and would always say, "These story is not unsubstantiated." Where everywhere above that, they led you to believe it was substantiated. And then they would also sit, it would sit there and say, "We expect the truth to come out as we said it." So you're right; they don't read to the bottom. Mm-hmm. So, in August of 2022, she filed a civil suit, against her and 4 other. And despite all the evidence, she still filed it. And I look at it like this. I look at it, call it the Mina Kimes effect. Can you picture Mina Kimes, Joe, saying, well, the facts sit there and say there's no evidence and all that? No, she's tribalistic. Us women got to believe women. Got to believe women. That's a Mina Kimes effect. The truth doesn't matter. So despite all this, even then, many analysts pointed out that Araiza was an NFL draft pick. And even though the evidence wasn't there for this, she was hoping, I think, for a quick payday, meaning let's settle this out of court. He was a high-profile target. And again, in his defense, he maintained his innocence, refused to bow down. In fact, Jimmy and Joe, the lawyers eventually came back. Okay, we'll take $50,000 to make this go away. And he said, no. I'm sure he probably said bleep no, but $50,000 to an NFL player, even on the low end contract, that's not a lot of money. That's like making. And he said no.
Yeah,
I kind of admire the kid for doing that. Your take on that, Jimmy? Then Joe.
Yeah, I agree as well. Again, it's a guy. I'm innocent. If you're innocent, you're definitely not taking anything, or things like that. You're kind of like, whatever. I'm not paying you anything. I know I didn't do it, so. What's going on here? You're still coming at me still, but there are, no evidence. There is no evidence. There's lack of evidence. I wasn't there. And now you're still coming at me for money now still? Why? You just lost already. So why would I now pay you? I'm like, give me a break. And it damages my, chance of getting in the NFL or whatever, or my name.
Integrity.
Your integrity. Absolutely. Your name is everything there. You stand by it. Right. And so this, and if he goes and settles and pays them, that again sniffs people out to where, again, well, hey, he just paid her. Then there's got to be something there though, still that he's still not telling us somehow.
Right. And that's
you're
really
right.
what it is.
No, Joe, I just want to add, he countersued her.
Nice.
So he not only did not accept the money, he countersued her. Brilliant move. But if you're looking at this based off your years' experience watching football, being a fan, being an owner of flag football team, you've seen it from both sides. If you see a guy not only saying no, then throwing a countersuit, what goes through your mind as an owner?
Joe.
Oh, what's that?
What goes through your mind what goes through your mind the reason I asked is you're an owner of a flag football team, and I'm saying this because we're going to talk about it here in a second. We saw what the Bills did, but if you're looking at the fact that he refused to pay $50K and then countersued her as an owner, what's going through your mind when you're seeing that?
My player didn't do it. My player's taking action. He's not admitting fault and saying, okay, yeah, I'll pay you the 50 grand. Could have very easily have done that and just been done with it. And it probably wouldn't even been a story anymore. Oh, they settled, blah, blah, blah. But to his credit, he stood up and said, no, I didn't do this. So I'm not admitting fault by just giving you money or giving you any amount of money. Could have been $20. I'm not going to give you a small chump change to make you go away. Instead, I stand by my name. I know what I did. I know my truth. I'm going to come after you after the fact because you wanted to come after me just because you found out who I was, or just because you knew I was coming into money. So
right,
as a team or an owner, you get all the facts. So like the NFL, they get all these details and everything behind the scenes where they can kind of look over and say, okay, this is our player didn't do this. That's what all the evidence shows. So we're going to support him. And credit to Matt Araiza.
So let's stick with you here on this, Joe, since you own a flag football team. What do you think of Terry Pegula? A coward, a cuck, a loser, ignorant fool, because he chose to cut him despite all the evidence that was there. The Buffalo Bills drafted him, and this because you don't do a cut like this without the owners say so. So what do you think of? And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. That's what I think of Terry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. You're fine.
What do you think of him?
So I mean, for him, honestly, like you already knew what it was going to end up being. Like you knew the facts, you knew everything, and you invested in him. You drafted him. So there's an investment part of it too. It's like you just throwing away that draft pick on the guy and just giving up on him when he in fact was innocent. Why would you get rid of a commodity? And to be honest, Matt Araiza is a very good punter. Like if he can upgrade that portion of your team, you keep him. Especially he's seen innocent. It didn't make any sense. So I think for him to make that decision and to move on from Matt Araiza, I think is absolutely like just mind-boggling. It doesn't make any sense, and he's a scumbag for it. Honestly, like I just don't understand why you don't support your players that deserve it. There's guys in the NFL that they get all the support in the world when they probably shouldn't get the support. You know what I mean? There's been guys that have been in cases where there even was video evidence and somehow they got off, and it's like but they're still on the roster. Like what because he gets suspended, that's okay. You know what I mean? It's pretty insane.
Rasheed Rice as an example.
Still waiting on that.
Yeah. So before we move on from this point, one of the reasons, Jimmy, that he did the lawsuit, the countersuit, is because he saw he got cut from the Bills. He saw that he was being blackballed, and he felt in his mind, I have to do something to save my NFL career. But to piggyback off what Joe said, it was a rush decision by the Bills, presumption of guilt, a lack of due process by the NFL and the Bills to look at the civil lawsuit, because had they looked at the criminal evidence, they would have said there's nothing in this lawsuit. I think they succumbed to the public pressure and the PR nightmare. What reason do you think, Jimmy, it was that they cut him?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it got out there because, again, according to Araiza's lawyer, he publicly stated that the Bills already knew about the allegations before the draft, so they drafted him anyways. So now, I think they maybe even did it because it came out nowadays, and people are going to find out, that potentially that they knew about it. They grabbed them anyways. So they wanted to save face instantly. Didn't even bother to look into, I think, to the situation, no matter what they say. And I think they decided, hey, let's just walk away from this. Let's cut ties. And not backing their player, like Joe said, which would have been the right thing to do. Say, we're looking to it too, internally investigating the situation, working closely with Araiza and his team. And we expect, results to show that he's innocent after this, but we are investigating. say something like that too, that you're looking at it. It looks even better than just saying, yeah, no, this looks bad. Bye. You
Yeah,
know what I
but
mean?
Jimmy,
Especially
they
after
do
you
say
apparently
that.
already knew about it.
Well, they do say that if it's Ben Roethlisberger, if it's
Mhm.
Jameis Winston, if it's Ezekiel Elliott, if it's Kareem Hunt, if it's Antonio Brown, Deshaun Watson,
Mhm.
Tyreek Hill, and I could go on and on and on. And what's the difference between them and Matt Araiza? Those guys were stars and were producers. So
Yep.
if you win, they're gonna make an excuse. But if you're a punter, it reminds me of Mike Tice. Mike Tice was a bully. I never liked Mike Tice. Great offensive line coach, a
Mhm.
buffoon as a head coach.
Mhm.
Uh, when he took over for the Vikings as a head coach, I think he was interim at the
Yeah.
time. He goes, "I'm sending a message to the team." He cuts the punter. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
That's a yeah. Oh, Mike Tyson, big bad dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this disparity in treatment that has always bothered me from NFL teams. And I'm not saying you have to have equality, but as both of you guys have said, freaking look at the damn data, the information, the evidence.
mhm,
Now,
Mhm.
they both agreed to drop the lawsuits. One, and this was important to him because of the fact that he wanted to prove his complete innocence, and it
mhm,
worked. He, I don't have it in front of me, and I don't even know the name. But the Chiefs he got to try out with the Jets. However, the Jets already had signed their kicker, pretty good punter themselves. So they're like, we just gave him a guaranteed 1.3 million contract. We appreciate you, Matt, but you got to move on. Now the Chiefs puncher. He was pretty damn good. I don't have his stats or
Mhm.
the name in front of me. He was a
mhm.
damn great
Yeah.
punter. There was no reason to replace him,
Yeah.
But I think
Right.
his contract was up, negotiations. They saw, and he was called the punt god for a reason.
Mhm.
He was drafted when most kickers and punters don't get drafted for a reason. I thought they got a Kmart blue light special. I don't know if you guys remember. At Kmart, as kids, they had something called the blue light special. So as kids,
Yeah.
we always made fun. Where'd you get that blue light special? Yeah, man. Why are you cracking on me?
Yep.
There's a blue light. They got the blue light special with Matt Araiza. And I thought, I mean, it's like the Chiefs are already great, and here they are taking a risk, getting a deal. Now, granted, they stuck by Rice,
Mhm.
so maybe they believe in the process, and I would like to think they believe in the process more than the production of a player, because it's not like the wide receiver Rice was a stud coming in. It's not like Araiza. So I think because of the big contracts elsewhere, this was a great fit. Joe, your thoughts
Yeah.
on the Chiefs signing him?
I think it's a great move. I mean,
Mhm.
honestly, like this is kind of one of those underlining signings that sometimes teams pull off. And it could be a guy that's forgotten, like a Matt Araiza, where he went through some criminal things or whatever, and but was deemed innocent, and everybody seems to forget. Why? Just because he's a punter or he's a kicker or someone that is a little bit lower on the totem pole in terms of tiers of players. So, but very important nonetheless. Special teams is one of the most important parts of football, and it does get overlooked sometimes. But this is one of those moves where the Chiefs saw an opportunity, like, hey, we're going to add some more talent. We're going to add Matt Araiza. We'll see what he has left, and it could be one of the biggest moves of the season for the Chiefs. So I
I
think it's
think
a really good move. Guy was innocent. I'm surprised that he didn't have a number of teams lining up for his services and maybe even having like
Mhm.
a bidding war to get him
Mhm.
for teams that need a punter. So, hey, good move by the Chiefs.
that will happen. I think, because he's on his veteran minimum rookie. He's on whatever deal. He's
Oh,
on the low
Mhm.
end. They got him at a
yeah.
big discount.
Oh, yeah.
So Jimmy, I want to go to you first with this question. Joe pretty much encompassed what we all think about the signing there. So with the NIL in place now in college, we see women targeting. And I'm sorry, I say women targeting male athletes. I've yet to hear. I'm sure maybe there is some guy targeting a WNBA star there, or maybe it is a woman targeting a female WNBA star player, 60%. Yeah. But that said, God, I cracked myself up. With the NIL in place, will false accusations start happening a lot more at the college level in your eyes? Jimmy, then Joe, then we'll
Um,
close this out.
uh, I think it might appear that way. And I think it will. I mean, because again, these guys are making money now here, legally that they can see. Before, some guys are even getting some backdoor deals here and there, whatever it be a trade or whatnot. But yeah, NIL deals, these guys are making money before they hit the NFL. Absolutely, because we were getting false accusations before that. Now that these guys have bigger contract deals, endorsements, you're probably going to see an uptick in that.
Right, right. Joe, your take on this, and then we'll close this out.
I mean, Jimmy touched on with NIL deals, and because they're getting, depending on the level of player, they're getting millions of dollars to hundreds of thousands to thousands of dollars in those. And on top of that, endorsements or whatever sponsor that they end up, incurring. So I think it definitely is going to start happening in college, because that's kind of where, like, even this case, it stemmed from college. So that right there is just kind of like a way to crack the door open. Like, hey, look, it didn't work out for her, but now this might encourage some other females. Like, oh yeah, well, I went out with this football player, and he raped me, and then he left, and I haven't reported it until 3 years later. So like, my thing is, you can definitely see this happen more often, especially for high profile players in college, because they're the guys that are making millions. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like Caleb Williams, he made double digits in terms of millions of dollars, like $10 million or more, when he was before he went to the draft. He made that. So you could just assume that with all the cases that come out against pro level athletes, that it's definitely going to creep in, because the money that's being thrown around at the college level.
Right. I agree. And I think with the money, as you were talking about, you're getting the lack of maturity of these kids. What people forget is, and retired players and agents have told me this: once these kids' special gifts are discovered, regardless of sport, they're never told no. Excuses are always made. Incidents are covered up. When you're talking the money some of these players are going to get, oh, you're damn right, this is going to happen. And it's going to get ugly. And a lot of these cases, I hate to say it, will probably you're going to have your woman, wanting the gold diggers out there, but there's going to be a lot of that's going to be based on a lot of truth, because you get these young dumb morons, and I do mean that in the most loving way, because they're the young dumb morons. They're ignorant. They're naive. They're ignorant. Now, whatever you want to call it, they're gonna have to pay a price. Like again, like I said last week, I don't think Deshaun Watson is a sexual predator in the sense of what we see on Cold Case or a movie or TV show. I think he just never told no, didn't realize, no, Deshaun, that's not how you pick up a woman,
Yeah.
He's like, really?
Right.
Cool, So anyway,
this is his play.
I am glad Matt Araiza has overcome this. He's worked hard, and to have somebody try to shake him down, and he stood strong. And that's what I like. He stood strong, and that's a rarity. Okay.
Will, real quick.
Ahead.
The punter you were trying to think of is Tommy Townsend.
Yeah.
Tommy Townsend. Okay. Yeah. Cool name. Tommy Townsend.
He had that long hair. Like, he was really good. Like, I don't even know what happened.
Yeah, well, money. It was just, they saw the numbers. See, that's what people don't understand. That's how good Matt Araiza was at college. You don't get drafted unless you are seen as already having the talent. And then, so the Bills really, there's a reason the Bills have not won a Super Bowl in my lifetime. In fact, there's a reason the Bills have never won a Super Bowl. Am I right? Yeah. They've never won a Super Bowl. That's right. Paul, you bum. Okay, so let us move on here too. Navigating the concussion crisis, Tua Tagovailoa's journey and the NFL's ongoing dilemma. So as we know, why don't you slide, man? That's all I can think of. Why don't you slide? You're like paper mache, and as we all know, in fact, you guys talked about this on your show. Jimmy, tell us a little bit about what happened to Tua here in week 2 there.
Yeah, Tua again. The Dolphins couldn't get anything going at all. Against the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills had their number dialed in from the beginning of the game. They couldn't operate in the running game. They couldn't get anything together offensively. He wasn't be able to get to his two starters. Waddle and Tyreek Hill out there. It was non-existent. So he's trying to get these guys back into this game. They start to have a little bit of a drive, right? But again, it's really, I think was it a third down play or something? It was a really tough situation here, and he's trying to move the ball, and he had an opportunity to take off and scrambling for the first down, which it was clear he was going to get it, and he did. But he kept going for some extra yards. And when you're buying in on extra yards too, it's your opportunity just to go down because they're already extra. You already have the first down. You could have just went down right after the first. But yeah, if you want to get a couple extra chunk because you're trying to score as quick as you can because you're down so far that you want to go for it. But you got to think smarter. People, you've got to be told this multiple times because he has had multiple concussions. I mean, this is third or fourth one now. And the thing is that I know with concussions, I've had two that after the first one, the second one came real quick, a lot easier. And so this is only going to make it worse that less of a hit will trigger one. You know what I mean? And this is about health and safety here. It's a big situation, but that's what it was. He did not slide. I don't know why. Some guys, we've seen it with quarterbacks when you're trying to tell them not to do a lot of different things you seem to look at them and say, why are you doing this? And they can't get it through their skulls. I don't know why, but decided to take Damar Hamlin, who had a scare of his own a year and a half, head on, like he was going to bowl him over or something. And there was the collision and it caused the injury.
Right. Two things, Joe. I played sports. We all play sports, I did sports all through high school. I've kind of had it with he's a man. Why didn't he get those couple extra yards? No, we know. We know when we're made of paper mache and we need to take it easy. So this, to me, it's one of the biggest male testosterone lies. Well, he's batting for those yards. He's a man. He's a man. And I'm like, no, he's stupid. He knows he's paper mache. And the reason that's point number one, Joe, I want you to respond to. Point number two is I'm sorry. Damar Hamlin did not hit him. It looked like he kind of like a paper bag, kind of like his head like touched that chest and caved in, And to me, and my point being is it wasn't even a collision or like this bang. Oh man, you see that hit, bro?
Right.
It was more like, dude, the guy crumbled like a paper bag, I mean, had he not had a concussion, they would have been ripping him out throughout practice the next week. Dude, man, what the hell was that? That's how non-hit that hit looked to me. Because when I saw the hit, I was thinking, damn it, it's like he ran into Damar. I mean, Damar Hamlin's arms were like this. It's like they were getting ready to wrap around. Your thoughts on my 2 points, and feel free to disagree on the male testosterone, because a lot of guys, when I brought this topic up, they're like, well, William, I don't know. I'm like, well, that's just how I'm like, you got to be 250 million. They're not paying you to be stupid out there, and you were stupid.
I mean, it comes down to you got to know your limits. You got to understand, what you can do, what you can't do, especially with the history that Tua has with concussions. That already is alarming. And for Tua to, like Jim mentioned, he already was going to get the first down. And I'm definitely sure the coaching staff this year, especially, that was a critical thing that they went over time and time again with Tua. Like, listen, we don't want you taking any headshots. We don't want you taking any hard hits. We need you to get out of bounds or slide. Do not take them at all costs. Do not take them. But in the heat of the moment, you mentioned testosterone. In the heat of the moment for Tua, he's like, I got to make this play. He already had the first down, but still felt compelled that he needed more yards. And instead of sliding like he should have, and this is his own fault. He lowered his own head into the Bills player and Damar Hamlin, which triggered the concussion. So actually, it's his fault. He got the concussion. Damar Hamlin never lowered his head, never lowered his shoulders into his helmet, nothing like that. Tua just literally ran into Damar and then fell down and had his concussion. So you got to understand your limits. And for Tua, especially, you got to listen to your coaching staff. I understand in the heat of the moment, but you still have to be smart. Like you said, Will, you have to be smart. Don't be stupid and risk your health or your life even in deciding something that is unnecessary. So he had the first
Right.
down, just slide and be done with it.
And you know, in reading up on this story, I left the picture up. I was going to pull it down, but I wanted to tell the
Mhm.
audience the fingers you see there. When this happened last year, a couple years ago,
Yeah.
well, first of all, you know, he has a concussion history, Joe, as you said. 2 incidents in 2022, one against the Bengals, and I think that's what this one is here, the image here. And he was stretched out the field, then another one against the Packers that ended the season. And he had a major one in college too, but he also broke his hip. So the time it took the heel for the hip, you know, people forgot about the concussion. So he has a history of this. But that
Mhm.
fingers, that's a sign, that unnatural position. It's
Yeah.
it's a sign of a mid-brain injury. Now, a lot of this is
Mhm.
speculation with science, not pseudoscience, but a lot of times, unless you're dead, you really can't tell with the brain, say with dementia
Mhm.
type stuff. So I don't take it with a grain of salt, but I'm like, okay, I tend to believe it, but they're going to give you the worst case scenario. But that did look
Right.
gruesome when it happened. In fact, you know, I've had some serious concussions. I suffer from vertigo to this day. So yeah, you have to take that stuff serious. And I don't know if mine is from concussions, but it could be, you know, at times, you know. And I just think, Joe, you're right. It's a situation in which I guess you answered why he didn't slide. Jimmy, is that your take too? The testosterone moment is why he didn't slide.
Um, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's, again, for those types of plays, I don't know if it's just maybe it's just he wants to try so hard to get those yards. We've seen guys like Carson Wentz do the same thing. You try to tell this guy a billion times to try and slide where you're getting it, but some guys feel like they have to push forward. They're putting it on their shoulders. They're the team's leader to go out and get those extra yards. I understand if you're like, it's on the, you're right there at the first down marker and you're lunging to try and get the ball over the hash mark so you can get that first down and move the chains. But he was well beyond the first down marker. That, like I said, it's all extra. So just go down. You know what I mean? Play it
Even
smart.
You
yeah,
bring up a
even
great point. Hold on. I want you guys to respond to this point. Carson Wentz has to prove to his teammates. I mean, the guy's just he has never lived up to his draft status. He's always struggled. So in that situation, in the Carson Wentz's eyes, it's respect. If I get this first down, man,
Mhm.
they're gonna rally to me. I need this. Tua
Mhm.
did not need that. I mean,
No.
his numbers from last year, since Mike Daniels got in there, has earned him that respect.
Mhm.
And so, am I looking at this wrong in terms of what I just said? In terms of like, okay, I can see Carson Wentz doing it despite some of his issues, but Tua didn't have to. Joe,
Yeah,
and
I
I'm
mean,
sorry, Joe, you had a comment to make. I apologize.
that's all right. I just wanted to say, like, he has had 4 concussions in his life. So when he was with Alabama, he had a concussion there his senior year. And now you look at his pro career, he had 3 as a pro. Not This is not a good thing. So for Tua and for his family, for his future, he really needs to sit down and really think. He doesn't have to keep playing. I understand you have the drive as a competitor, and he has the ability to keep playing, but at some point, it's better to walk away from the game that you love and share the rest of your life with your loved ones. So that's all I really wanted to say was that he needs to be smarter also as just a human being.
Gotcha, Jimmy.
Again, as far as Carson Wentz, I'm figuring he has to, like, if Tua has to prove something like Carson Wentz had to, is that what you're saying?
Right. Yes.
Again, I don't think so. Some guys, again, I don't think they do it as like, hey, I got to prove that I'm tough. I prove to do this. I think at that moment, he's in the moment, he's gaining more yards. He knows how far they are down, and some guys just black out. They just go, like he said, I'm trying to get as much as I can and just kind of go for it. You know what I mean? It's if you try and jump into the way what's going through the thought of somebody's brain when some of this is going on, sometimes it's too much to kind of think about. You're like, why would I try to think about what he's thinking about right now? Some guys are just in the moment, they zone out and just go. You know what I mean? And
Right.
I think that's what it was with Tua. He knows they were down. It was a big moment, big chunk of yards he was getting.
Right.
He was on the movement. He's like, hey, if I get by this guy, I got it more. Here we go. We're back in it, and not thinking of, hey, I already got what I needed to slide it down like Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes will get away, escape the pocket, find that lane, run a lot, and then when he knows he's got what he needs to, he'll slide down. He'll get down.
Patrick Mahomes is special, and here's why. It's not just his gunslinging arm like a baseball pitcher. It's he's a smart quarterback. He can run, but he goes, I'm a pocket quarterback. So when he runs,
Mhm.
he knows, he's going to slide. Josh
Yeah.
Allen, I stuck my rookie year and then they developed me into a pocket quarterback, but I'm still a big boy, so I'm going to run. Well, I'm sorry, Josh. That's going to shorten your career. There's a reason Patrick Mahomes remains healthy, is able to see the field, it's you get a concussion that can affect you many ways. It may take longer. The concussion protocol. It's a 5-step process. 1, rest and limited activity. 2, light aerobic exercise. 3, football specific exercise. 4, non
Mhm.
contact training drills. 5, full football activity and clearance. Now, all that sounds silly, but I think that's actually to
Mhm.
protect the player from the team and the coaches. I mean, we
Yeah.
all went through high school. We all went through, you get the pressure from the coaches. Yeah, I think you're ready to play. They put that pressure on you.
Yeah.
I think this is to protect that player. I
Yeah.
mean, it's also to protect the player from themselves as well. But
Mhm.
I think most players have their druthers. Yeah, coach, I'm still seeing stars, but I'll get out there for you and the team because you feel pressured. So I look at this and it says each step must be completed without recurring symptoms. That makes sense. And the protocol requires input from team physician and an independent neurological consultant. To me, out of everything I just said, throw it all out the window. The only thing I care about is an independent
Mhm.
neurological consultant,
Yep.
meaning
Mhm.
somebody who's not
Yes.
attached within the team,
Right.
who's not being paid by the team, somebody on the outside going, son, you still bleeped up. Sit your ass on that bench.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Instead, there's been stories from the team physician. Oh, yeah, he's going to play. Is the guy still staggering? No, he's going to get on out there, boy.
Yep.
Get
Yep.
on out there, Steve Young. Get on out there. Steve Young
Yep.
was staggering out there, and he's still trying to throw the ball. So
Mhm.
uh, uh, let's talk about retirement. Joe, it seems to me that you would sit there and tell him to retire. I, before we started this segment, would have said, it's not my call. I don't know what to tell him. But after reading up and finding out that $167 million out of that contract is guaranteed for injury, I'm like, you need to retire. Because as you said, Joe, 4 concussions. I mean, and this last concussion, I mean, it wasn't even a hit.
Too easy.
Yeah,
Too easy.
exactly. He
Mhm.
barely touched that chest before his head caved in like a paper mache bag. I would tell him to retire. It's his choice, and I would tell him
Yeah.
it's your choice. But if I'm the owner, I'd cut his ass faster than the Bills did Matt Araiza. And if somebody else wants to sign him, it's on you. When the family's screaming bloody murder 20 years from now because he's trying to kill himself, as Junior Seau did, or his brain is Swiss cheese. Joe and then Jimmy.
Yeah, I don't think that anybody would touch him at this point. If he was to be let go, which is I don't see the Dolphins cutting him for one. I think they would, if anything, the independent neurologist would have to say something like, "This is not good. He should not continue his career." And by that, Tua has to. They can actually force him to retire. They don't have to just cut him or whatever like that.
Well,
They can
that's what I meant. That's
medically,
what I meant.
Mhm.
medically, that independent neurologist, if he said, "Nope, no go, there's no way he should play this sport again," then we would get to that where he would get paid that guaranteed money.
Yep.
But also, the other part of it is that
Mhm.
Tua took out an insurance policy this year, a $49 million insurance policy on himself, that if he was to leave the game due to concussions, that he gets paid $49 million from his
Mhm.
insurance company. So
Mhm.
uh, if that was to happen, not only is he getting that guaranteed money, he's also getting the $49 million from the insurance company. So he already has a ton of money. That's not what we're saying is that, oh, he should leave because he's going to get all this extra money, but he's more than well off. He's already
Oh,
made
right,
his
right.
millions, and he's going to get that much more just by calling it quits and retiring. I get the competitor edge. I get that he would love to keep playing the sport that he loves, but I think that the smarter thing to do if don't know what the independent neurologist said, but if they said, okay, he doesn't show any, ramifications from this past concussion, it hasn't gotten any worse. If he wants to, he can play. We'll clear him. If that was the conversation, then it's up to Tua. If it was where it was like wink, wink, nudge, nudge, he probably shouldn't play anymore, but he can play. Then maybe you have to have that decision where you're like, you know what, we probably shouldn't push him. We probably should just end this right now.
Jimmy, between the insurance settlement and this current contract he's on, he will be worth 108.5 million. Not even counting the money from his first few years, meaning after taxes. So he can walk away. My take is always, look, these guys are coming from the ghetto, the barrio, the trailer parks, wherever you want to call it. This is money they'll never see again. But at this point, it's not about the money; it's about his health. And Joe, you're right. He can't be cut. I mean, cut's the wrong word. It's the NFL needs to come out and says we're not going to allow this kid to play anymore. And,
they could
have
just
all
force
the
him to
science
retire.
backing it up. Yeah,
they could force him.
What would you say? Do you think it's we should be talking like this, or is this completely on him to make, or should the NFL take a stand here?
It's always tough for me to tell somebody, like, I feel like the NFL shouldn't tell him to retire. You know what I mean? People are going to live the life the way they want to. I understand the NFL is always trying to protect themselves, especially with the CTE thing that was going on with them and the lawsuit and everything that was brought up by former players and things like that. So they want to kind of look good in the light of everything here. So that would be something that would be positive for them to say, hey, listen, we'll pull them aside. But if they happen to do something like that, it's got to be, again, talk to him, talk to his family, see what he wants to do, and then move forward with it. I understand that some people too also feel like, hey, this is what I do. I feel like I have more to offer this game. I feel like I haven't achieved everything I wanted to. But sometimes, when you have these issues and stuff like that, it's harder to get to that. And sometimes you're not going to reach those goals. And some people are having a hard time kind of accepting that. And that's something that he would have to think about too. And so I think that I say to act now and say, we're going to try and force him to do it, I think is wrong. I don't think they should, but I wouldn't be opposed to having it be an option after, the discussions are made, examinations, and he really, looks at it, from a point of view of his family and things like that, and what really truly matters in his overall health, despite, where he is in his career.
Yeah, I got to be honest. So here's what people don't realize: he can come back 100%, but he is more susceptible.
Yes.
To a concussion, and we saw that.
Yeah.
And what he did, as we all agree, he didn't take a hit. He kind of ran into and lightly touched the chest, which tells me his point of no return was his last concussion. This show that he is a paper mache out there. And I don't think it's about forcing them. And let's be honest, we all reach a point where we weren't good enough, or else we would all be in the pros and living in a big mansion somewhere. He's not good enough anymore. I'm not talking about his actual play, but his ability to stay on the field.
Stay healthy.
And this team just lost a couple $100 million. Look, he's on IR. Yeah. He's already going to miss 4 or 5 games. They're going to have to. If I'm Mike McDaniels, and Mike McDaniels is not a dumb coach. The guy is an innovative kid. He's already thinking, I can't be a head coach of a team not knowing that if my quarterback takes a hit, he's gone for another 4 games or 8 games. I need to find a player who can take a hit. And if I'm Mike McDaniels, that's how I'm looking at it moving forward. Love you, Tua, but you're going to get me fired because you can't play, and I got to go with a second stringer who they pay minimum wage to, who doesn't have your talent. I need a starter I can depend on. So I look at it from every angle, every aspect you look at it from. He should be done, meaning from the team, looking at it from the PR perspective, from the head coach, looking at it from a coaching perspective, and most importantly, the most important reason of all is Tua's own health. And before I did the research for this, I was like, well, who are we? Well, who are we? He's taken care of. So there's no reason to risk his life. And That $1.2 billion settlement, it's pennies when you look at all the players they're supposed to help. It's like a few $1,000. You're
Mhm.
talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in care. Not to mention if they get older, the assisted living care they're going to need
Mhm. Mhm.
because of dementia. You know,
Yeah.
so this is ramifications not just for Tua, for the rest of the league. And I'm sorry, I want to be able to watch football, but these activists will use every little thing too to try to shut the game down. The game is not being played by a lot of kids anymore because parents are scared,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
don't blame them to an extent. But yeah, it's time for Tua to go. Yeah, I don't
Mhm.
mean it in a negative, in a mean way. I mean it for his own health and for the betterment of the game. Joe, any final words on this topic? Then Jimmy, then we will move on.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I'll finish off with, and I wanted to make it clear, is that my stance on Tua is if the independent neurologist deems him a clean bill of health to move forward and play, I understand that he possibly could get a concussion much easier once again. But if he's being given the green light to go, you know what that's going to mean. Tua's going to play because that's what he wants to do. And I'm okay with that because that'll be not only did he get medical clearance to go, but also it's his decision to keep playing. But if it's the other way where the neurologist even hints like, yeah, I really don't think he should continue playing, then he should be forced to retire and just be done and move on with the rest of his life.
Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the same kind of path of what Joe's saying too. Again, I think that if he is cleared, that he will try and play. But I think on the other aspect too, if for himself, he wouldn't be doing himself a favor if he didn't talk it over with his family, talk to other players that retired. Look at Andrew Luck, who retired early, who he was looking to be the next, Peyton Manning or whatever, and stars of the league, injured and then never came back to what he was quick and then just retired early. So and he accepted that, didn't get to where he wanted
Right.
to be in his career and stuff like that, not walking away with anything what Tua would be walking away with. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right, right.
having
No, no, yeah,
somebody
yeah.
like that to talk to in your corner, I mean, is something else too. So I think along with the protocols, stuff like that, people are still just learning more and more daily about the brain and how it works. So I think it's a standard that they have right now that kind of is something. I think they'll, as they work with neurologists more and more, we'll see other things added to this list or other things that they could do to try and see as people are studied. I know some of these guys that end up having CTE are donating their brains after death to be examined to try and dig deeper into this situation to understand it better, and then maybe give these guys that have these issues a better understanding and something else that they have information to look at and make a improvise or an informational decision.
Right, right. Well, I can be a bully since I'm the host. I have the last word. Both of you guys are correct. This is Tua's decision. I would never take that away from him. But my problem with what you two just said is he's going to be medically clear because his brain's going to get healthy, but it's his susceptibility to the next hit, meaning a doctor has no choice but to say, yeah, he's clear to play. He's healthy. He's over the concussion now until the next hit. So there comes a point where somebody's got to step in and go, no, we're not going to take a chance with the next hit because it's unpredictable. He could resume his career, never take a hit. But statistically speaking, we all know the odds of that aren't likely. And real quick on Andrew Luck, uh, it wasn't the concussions. He was just in
No, it
pain
wasn't.
physically.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
was, he was just in so much pain physically afterwards. And like you said, it was slow to
right.
heal. All right.
Mhm.
Much love and much health to after taxes being worth over about 110 million. My advice to him, son, go enjoy life. Go be an announcer, etc. He's got that little cardinal rule where you're never going to look at him and go, well, he couldn't win the big one. You're always going to look at him and go, well, his career was short and it wasn't his fault. So he gets that little asterisk. And that's all, as silly as it sounds, that kind of soothes some of the egos at times, versus a long 20-year career, Charles Barkley, and never winning a big one.
Mhm,
All
mhm.
right. All right. Let us go to our last topic here of the night. And I have called this Sheryl Swoopes. the bitter ex-queen of the court, jealous of Caitlin Clark's crown. So we will get to the audience. We're only going to have 2 topics, but it's just Sheryl Swoopes, the moron that just keeps on giving. The court jester whose head would have been lopped off by the king many moons ago. Sheryl Swoopes is a WNBA legend. But let's be honest. Before Caitlin Clark came on the scene, Jimmy and Joe, did either one of you know who Sheryl Swoopes was?
I did.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yep.
But
had heard
can I
the
tell
name,
you
and I had
anything about her
forgot it.
stats or what team she played
Well,
on? I couldn't
that's
tell you
what I
that, though.
mean. When I
Yes,
said
yes,
say,
yes,
did
yes.
you
I
know
knew
who she
who
was?
she was. Yes, yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of names that we know about that come and go. But if you ask me, well, what's Sheryl Swoopes done? Oh no, I heard the name Swoops. You don't forget that name, Swooptacular.
Yeah.
So she's been critical of Caitlin Clark, just consistently critical. And as we all know, Caitlin Clark's a rookie sensation. And she came out and said repeatedly claims that Clark is not dominating in the WNBA despite impressive statistics. Now, for the record, she's broken quite a few records so far. Rookie assist record, the rookie 3-pointer record, the first rookie triple double, the fastest of 350 points and 150 assists, rookie scoring record, and that's just a handful. She's also got 10 zillion milestones. I mean, she's the real deal. Yeah, I mean, there's just no ifs, ands, buts. Nobody cared about the WNBA until she came on the scene. And what makes Swoops, you got to give Swoops credit. What do you think of somebody who just won't let up? Meaning, it's kind of like that Robin Batman meme. That we always see. Is it Batman slapping? No, it's Robin slapping Batman. I can't remember. But that's Sheryl Swoopes. But she's like a dog with a bone. If you were giving her advice, Joe, what would you tell her? Time to shut up, woman.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, like I saw the clip where she reacted to Caitlin Clark's stats, and she's like, "Oh, she really hasn't done anything. She's not dominating." But meanwhile, the surrounding panel are all in agreement, like, "Oh my God, she's killing it. Like she's just," and she's like, "Oh, she hasn't dominated." But then you look at Sheryl Swoopes' stats when she was playing. If Caitlin Clark isn't dominating, her Sheryl Swoopes stats, she didn't do anything.
Well,
Joe, at all.
Let's show that clip. Let's show that clip real quick, and then we'll get back to you.
Her stats are today, what?
20 points, 8.4 assists, 6 rebounds.
That's crazy.
But 5.6
Those are hell of a number.
Those are hell of a numbers.
But to me, that's not dominating.
Yeah, it's only not dominating because she's a rookie.
Okay, that's not dominating. Okay. Before we go back to you, Joe, let us check these stats out. There's the stats right there. I want to give credit to Mr. Smith Marrero, Daddy, who posted this. I went and looked him up and double checked it, and he was correct on these numbers. But I wanted to give him some love there. So these are Sheryl Swoopes' numbers. Y'all can see that. 20.7, 18.5, 18.6. Clark, 19.5. Well, you can see it right there with the points per game, the assists, better in assists every season, better in rebounds per game, except for the 2000 MVP. On shooting, 2 seasons, Caitlin was better than Clark. Caitlin was better than Swoopes. Now, these aren't the end-on numbers, but these are the numbers that they're pressing her. Sheryl Swoopes supposedly was dominant. I say supposedly because I never saw her play. I didn't see the quality of the game. Maybe they didn't have I would assume they probably didn't have the 3-point shot back then. I don't know. But at the end of the day, don't tell me those numbers aren't dominating, as Joe said, when they are. Joe, and I apologize. I wanted to show the audience these numbers before you kept going. Okay, go on. Go on, brother Joe. Preach it.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's absolutely ludicrous for Sheryl Swoopes to kind of come down on her and speak negativity towards Caitlin Clark when really, like, what you can't argue your point if your point is so wrong, but you're trying to make everybody else see your point. It just doesn't make any sense. So it's like she's bantering on about how, Caitlin Clark hasn't done anything, but clearly if you look at the stats, like, no, she's balling right now. As a rookie in the league, she is transforming, the attention to the league. She's transforming on what a player should look like in the WNBA in terms of production and everything. Like, she's just flat out killing it. And for Sheryl Swoopes to just not acknowledge that, or to just be ignorant in the fact of, I'm going to not pay attention to what you guys are saying, but I think I was much better. Like, no, just be quiet. You don't know what you're talking about.
Now, Jimmy, I would put my money on Sheryl, though, to take her down. I mean, look at that size differential, that weight differential there. I think Sheryl take her out.
I don't know.
Come
She
here,
looks like she let herself go a bit.
She was thinner when she was playing.
I'm teasing. I'm just teasing.
Yeah, I hear you.
So, Jimmy, your take on everything that Joe said and what we talked about. Or let me put it this way. Is there any truth to Sheryl Swoopes' take? And let me add this caveat. In that same podcast, she came out and said that there are potential problems within that locker room, but she refused to say any names. She refused to give any examples. She just said, it kind of reminded me of the New York Times article, our anonymous sources, which really don't exist. Your take on our take on what we've said, and her saying that.
Well, there's two different ways to look at this. Either Sheryl Swoopes is the most modest analyst here, just saying that, well, her career wasn't very dominant either. If she's saying that, Caitlin Clark's isn't dominating, then her 3 all-star years weren't that much of a domination either. So maybe she's just taking a step back and saying, well, I didn't really dominate either. This is my numbers and I was just playing. But the likely fact is that she's just an old bitchy has-been that just can't see somebody else getting better numbers than she is in their first year in the league, when she was in the league for a few years here and moved up to those to get to those stats. And this woman's doing better, and she's white. You know what I'm saying? So
I think
that just digs the knife a little deeper. You know what I'm saying? Because what have you heard about this league when people try and defend it? Keep it black and keep it, lesbian. That's your
and to the audience, we're not saying that. Monica McNutt has said that. Even players like Shannon Sharp have come out and said, y'all just don't like the fact she's white. Other players have come out and said that. I think there's a racial component, but I'm not going to defend Sheryl Swoopes. But let's close this out with this portion of the discussion. I think her being Anglo is that's a thorn in Swoopes' side and a lot of other players' side. And I don't think that her being straight matters. I think that's more of the fans making an issue of that. I think what it really boils down to is she's grown the game. TV viewership has exploded. Ticket sales in 5 home games, her first 5 home games, they did more in fans' attendance in Indiana Fever than they did all of last year. Opposing teams with the Fever go to their stadiums, they go, we ain't gonna play in our stadium, it's too small. If I know Las Vegas did it, but I want to say maybe the Spark. There's been like 4 or 5 other WNBA franchises that have played their games. Atlanta's another one. Play their games in bigger venues. I think at the end of the day, that is what's truly driving Sheryl Swoopes more so than Monica McNutt wanting the game to remain black and lesbian. And that's fine if that's what you want, but you're not going to bring fans. If golfers had said that about Tiger Woods, we just want to keep the game white. Why rich people?
Right.
It's racist. But in this politically correct world, we can't talk about that. But we are talking about that because we're not afraid to talk about that. But in this case, I think it's the TV viewership, the ticket sales, the accolades, the love, the name recognition. I think for all the money, at the end of the day, these athletes that are at this professional level, they are today's Roman Coliseum gladiators. They're your take, Joe.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm so tired right now.
Yeah. I'll go on to this one. It's all that. Look at the most received all-star votes, 700,002. So it's that. The fans love her. She got the most, votes there for that. The game is getting bigger. It's, more ticket sales, TV viewership. Like you said, it's getting bigger because of this girl, and that pisses her off. You know what I'm saying? She feels like she was the milestone that there should be a Sheryl Swoopes monument somewhere in the league, that they have to worship here. Like, I'm the best player that was ever in this league. And then all of a sudden this girl sweeps it and does it in one season just like that and crushes everything I accomplished. I mean, that's demeaning to her. And she's got to be like, oh man, she can't accept that. And what do we know about a lot of women? They can't really accept all that type of stuff. Another woman coming in and stealing their thunder as well. So she's going to take it to heart. And really kind of that's why she's going after Caitlin Clark, I think, in this whole situation here. She's feeling hurt. So now she's got to latch out and get those claws going. And it's really sad.
I was going to say,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what this is. That's why, again, I don't even care. And look how she's even dressed in the podcast. You're wearing like a jersey, just hanging out, chilling. You know what I mean? Come on. Let's look professional. Yeah. If you're going to give you a professional opinion too. Come on.
So I will close this out with homophily. We've talked about this in the past. Yes. I've talked about it a lot. Homophily meaning a culture gravitates to their own, and when somebody from their culture enters a sphere that's not their domain, they will flock to it. Case in point, Tiger Woods is the easiest example. Now Larry Bird in basketball. Now you have Caitlin Clark, and that's normal, people. And y'all need to get over yourselves because it happens both ways. Happened with Tiger Woods in tennis. It's happened multiple times in every sport. But the most recently with the Williams sisters in tennis, I'm sorry, Tiger Woods was golf. The Williams sisters in tennis. I mean, it goes all the way back to Arthur Ashe in tennis in the early 70s. Billie Jean King. I mean, everybody knew she was gay. Everybody in the kids. So they bring these they bring these audiences with them, and that's one aspect. But I think it's the fame and the glory. And my friends, so Jimmy, real quick, once again, before we close it out, tell them where they can find your show at, and tell them. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, no problem. Again, I don't have my own Twitter handle, things like that, or X handle, but we are at FB_no to check out anything that Joe and I do, along with the Football on the No Show, which you can also check out on YouTube. Just search Football on the No Show, and there you go. There's all the videos there. And then also, like William knows, we are part of Grumblings Media and grumblingsmedia.com. Go there. You can find all the different podcasts, and also articles there. Anything you want to check out there with sports, political, grumblingsmedia.com. You'll find our show there. And then also we're available on iTunes, anywhere you get your podcast too, for the Blindside Blitz, where we go live every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6, I think it is, Pacific. And we talk everything NFL, every team. So if you got something to say about your team, come on in. We accept comments and things like that, represent. So come on in and enjoy the fun.
Outstanding. And that about does it for us. Real quick, you can find the episode on homophily over as well as our social media profiles, such as Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, y Pandora, under the profile handle Grumblings Media. I am William Del Pilar for Jimmy McPhee and Joe DeCapita. This is Points on the Board. And until next time, we bid you adieu.
Hey everybody, this is Big John from Grumblings Media, and I just want to say thank you for watching our content. If you want to support our efforts here at Grumblings Media, just smash the subscribe button right here, totally free, or just go ahead and consume more of our great content. Click either one of these two boxes.